Fabio Cannavaro, heart over height. Football has always believed one simple rule. The greatest centre-backs are giants. Towering defenders. Physically dominant. Impossible to beat in the air. Cannavaro believed something different. He believed courage could beat size. Timing could beat strength. Heart could beat height. And over the next 2 decades, he proved the football world wrong. Born in Naples in 1973, Cannavaro grew up in a city where football wasn't just a sport. It was life. The streets were filled with dreams. The stadium echoed with passion. And one man inspired every young defender: Diego Maradona. Watching the world's greatest player every week taught Cannavaro something important. Greatness isn't given. It's earned. There was only one problem. He didn't look like a future centre-back. He wasn't 6'4". He wasn't physically intimidating. He wasn't built like the defenders dominating European football. Many believed he was simply too small. Football has always loved stereotypes. Tall defenders. Quick wingers. Powerful strikers. Cannavaro didn't fit the mold. So he created his own. Instead of relying on height, he mastered timing. Instead of relying on strength, he mastered positioning. Instead of relying on size, he mastered anticipation. Every match became the same challenge. Another giant striker. Another aerial battle. Another opportunity to prove people wrong. When towering forwards looked across the halfway line, they saw one of the smallest centre-backs in elite football. Many smiled. Many underestimated him. Most regretted it. Because Cannavaro played football like a chess master. He wasn't chasing the game. He was reading it. 3 passes ahead. 3 movements ahead. 3 seconds ahead. By the time a striker realized what was happening, Cannavaro had already won the ball. His performances for Napoli quickly earned admiration across Italy. Then came Parma, one of Serie A's most exciting teams. A dressing room filled with talent. Gianluigi Buffon, Lilian Thuram, Juan Sebastian Veron, Hernan Crespo. Yet Cannavaro never looked out of place. Italian football in the 1990s was football's toughest classroom. Every weekend brought another world-class striker. Gabriel Batistuta, Ronaldo, Christian Vieri, George Weah, Alessandro Del Piero in training with the national team. The very best. Cannavaro didn't survive against them. He competed with them. Again and again. People questioned his height. Again and again. He answered on the pitch. Heart over height. As the years passed, something remarkable happened. People stopped talking about what Cannavaro lacked. They started talking about everything he possessed. Leadership, timing, aggression, composure, fearlessness. He became the defender teammates trusted. The defender coaches admired. The defender strikers hated facing. Not because he intimidated them with his size, but because he gave them nothing. No space. No easy chances. No second opportunities. Some defenders wait for mistakes. Cannavaro created them. One perfectly timed tackle. One interception. One towering leap against a striker much taller than himself. Time after time, he reminded football of one simple truth. Heart over height. Then came the greatest challenge of his career. One tournament. That would change everything. The greatest test of Fabio Cannavaro's career. The FIFA World Cup. Not just another tournament. The biggest stage football has to offer. Italy arrived carrying expectation. Cannavaro carried something even heavier. The captain's armband. Captains don't just organize. They inspire. They calm. They lead when everything around them becomes chaotic. Fabio Cannavaro became the heartbeat of Italy. Game after game, the challenge grew. Bigger strikers, faster attacks, more pressure. Yet the bigger the moment became, the bigger Cannavaro seemed. Not because he had suddenly grown taller, because his courage grew with the occasion. Every tackle mattered. Every interception mattered. Every header mattered. Every decision mattered. Against Ukraine. Against Germany. Against France. Italy's defense stood firm. At the center of everything was Cannavaro. Reading danger before it arrived. Stepping in at exactly the right moment. Winning battles he was never supposed to win. Football teaches defenders to react. Cannavaro rarely reacted. He anticipated. That was his greatest gift. He wasn't chasing attackers. He was arriving before they did. Then came Germany. The World Cup semi-final. 90,000 supporters. One place in the final at stake. Wave after wave of attacks. Cannavaro refused to break. One block. Another tackle. Another clearance. Another perfectly timed interception. Every time Germany believed they had found a way through, there he was. Italy reached the World Cup final. One match away from immortality. France. Led by Zinedine Zidane. One of the greatest footballers ever to play the game. The world watched. Millions expected brilliance from the attackers. Instead, they witnessed a defensive masterclass. Cannavaro organized, encouraged, protected, led. Every teammate believed, because their captain believed. Heart over height. When the final whistle blew, Italy were world champions. Fabio Cannavaro lifted the FIFA World Cup. One of football's most iconic images. A captain standing on top of the world. Then came something nobody expected. The Ballon d'Or. The highest individual honor in football. Usually reserved for dazzling forwards. Creative playmakers. Goal scorers. Not defenders. Yet in 2006, the football world recognized something extraordinary. Cannavaro wasn't simply the best defender on earth. He had been the best footballer. A centre-back. Winning the Ballon d'Or. It remains one of football's rarest achievements. People often ask how someone without exceptional height became one of history's greatest defenders. The answer was never hidden. It was there every weekend. Every tackle. Every leap. Every perfectly timed challenge. He never tried to be the tallest. He simply became the smartest. Football has produced defenders who were stronger. Defenders who were taller. Defenders who looked more intimidating. But football has rarely produced a defender who understood the game quite like Cannavaro. He turned positioning into an art. Timing into a weapon. Leadership into inspiration. He proved that courage can overcome size. That intelligence can overcome strength. That determination can overcome doubt. Heart over height. Young defenders around the world were told they were too small, too light, too weak. Cannavaro gave them something priceless. Belief. Because if he could stand against the world's greatest strikers, so could they. Football measured him in centimeters. History measured him in greatness. That is why Cannavaro will always remain a true footballing icon. Not because he was the tallest. Not because he was the strongest. But because he proved the size of your heart will always matter more than the size of your frame. Heart over height. That wasn't just Cannavaro's story. It became his legacy. What is your favorite Fabio Cannavaro moment?